congratulations on the movie. I feel as though many actors would be very excited to play Spider-Man. It's sort of a dream role, but literally, you were a huge Spider-Man fan all through your childhood.
Yeah, I feel like I've been playing Spider-Man in my bedroom since I was 5.
You actually posted a photo. This is you holding up, this is one of your Spider-Man shirts.
I think that is the first one. I think my lovely mum kept that, which I'm now super grateful for. But yeah, I think that's my first ever Spider-Man
And was that the only superhero that you dressed up with as a child?
I had a Superman phase.
Okay, gotcha.
I can't lie, but Spider-Man has always been
Gotcha.
my all-time favorite. Yes.
You are a fantastic actor, but I see you more as Spider-Man than Superman, so I think this worked out.
Not as big as Henry
Yeah,
Cavill,
it's a sigh. And he's a little more boring, let's be honest. Superman is, because, he's one of those outer space people, and Spider-Man's just a regular guy. And it just must be so exciting to play this part.
It's a dream come true, man. When they announced that they were recasting Spider-Man, I couldn't have imagined that I would get the job. For me, I asked my agents for an audition just because I wanted to meet the Marvel people, I've been such a huge fan of their movies.
Get a few comics out of it.
I'd just like to meet them. That'd be really cool. But now I'm in the movie, so it's crazy.
What was it like the first time you tried on the suit? Because I guess, so the first time you played Spider-Man was in Captain America Civil War, which is really exciting because you were fantastic. It was great to know that you would then have your own film. What was it like putting on the suit for the first time?
I have to say, it was very disappointing.
Okay.
I'll explain. Everyone's like,
was it because you realized you didn't have the powers?
Yeah. Thanks, Seth. Thank you. Tell me, why would this work? So basically, I was cast on, let's say, a Friday, flew to Atlanta 2 days later to start shooting the next day. So I arrive in Atlanta,
So you only had 2 days between getting cast and starting?
It was such a whirlwind. I finished shooting the movie and was like, did I do anything? I feel like it was just a rehearsal. So anyway, I show up, I go to my costume fitting, and there's all these mirrors. So I had them close the mirrors because I wanted to see the suit for the first time on. And I put the suit on, it felt great, and they opened it, and because it was my stunt double suit, and he was much bigger than me, it was really baggy and saggy, and looked like a very old, sad Spider-Man, So it definitely wasn't as heroic as I would have hoped.
You were not Spider-Man, you were Spider-Divorced Dad.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask about this because this is a photo you posted. I guess you would go out during breaks and get coffee, but you would not change out of the Spider-Man suit. Was it sort of difficult to get in and out of, and once you had it on, you would just keep it on?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is you can't take it off yourself.
Right.
And you'd be like, can I take it off? And they're like, no.
Because it's too expensive.
Yeah, it's too expensive. It takes loads of time. And we weren't allowed to leave our trailer when we were in the costume because it's a secret. And one day, I was like, I just need to go for a walk. So we sort of distracted the security guys, and my friend and I ran the other way, and we went to Starbucks.
And so you do really good work from the waist up.
Yeah.
Really excellent.
Yeah, the funny thing about that day is we were in downtown LA, and I was standing on the side of the street, and this guy came up to me and was like, dude, those are such dope pants. This is a costume. This isn't an outfit choice, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, in LA, you could just as easily be a DJ.
Yeah, exactly. I fit right in.
Yeah. There's a huge burden when you take on these iconic superheroes because the fan base has such an expectation. But also, I imagine there's this real burden of all the other people in the Marvel Universe who've already played these superheroes. So the first time you met Robert Downey Jr., I guess that was the person you had to screen test with based on that was the first scene we saw you in, was with Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War. So what was it like meeting Robert Downey Jr. for the first time?
So I was in Atlanta for my first screen test. They told us 25 minutes before that Robert was going to come along and do the audition. Literally on cue, a helicopter flew down and Robert got out and came for his audition. And I was like, one day.
I was going to say.
One day. But yeah, so I go into this room to do the audition and I see Robert Downey Jr. I go up to him, I shake his hand, nice to meet you, and I'm starting to panic, right? I'm like, oh my God, it's Robert Downey Jr. And I'm looking at him in the face, sort of going, there's something different about you in person. Do they do something to your face on camera? You don't look the same. And then Robert then walked in. And I realized I've been talking to his stunt double the whole time. So I got my nervous, jittery stuff out of the way with Glenn and then met Robert afterwards.
Oh my God. That guy you're probably his favorite actor. He's like, you know, I do a lot of movies. Nobody ever says hi to me, but that guy, he treated me like a star. I really appreciate that guy. You also got to work with Jake Gyllenhaal in this film.
Yes, I did.
And how was that? He's a great guy. We're fans of his here.
It was interesting because that was hilarious. No, it was interesting because I've always been such a big fan of his work, and I really, really looked up to him. And when I found out that he was cast, I was quite nervous about the idea of working with him. And then he came to set for his first day of shooting, and what Marvel do sometimes is they would completely change the lines overnight.
Gotcha.
So you'll walk in on Monday morning, and all of a sudden you have a 3-page monologue about interdimensional rifts and all this kind of crazy stuff.
Very important plot things that might not be supernatural coming out of a human mouth, right?
So Jake was like, he was like panicking. So I found myself on day one with working with one of my idols, like, it's okay, man, it's okay. Like, this is just how it goes over here in the Marvel world. So it was really weird, but
that actually looks like what happened right before this photo. Like,
that is exactly what that was, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. We have talked about the suits. You feel as though your argument is you have the hardest suit to wear of anybody in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I would argue that,
Yeah.
yes. Because I have no skin showing.
Yeah.
I'm straight up head to toe in Lycra. I don't even have I can't even use my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm 23, like I use my phone a lot.
Yeah.
I've become so good at like liking pictures with my nose and...
Yeah, I mean, that's one. If anybody shouldn't be able to use their phone on set, it should be Sam Jackson. That should be the trade-off.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know you, Robert Downey Jr., who of course you've worked with in many films.
Yes.
You have his phone number, which is a pretty cool thing.
I do, yeah, I do have his phone number. I was, where were we? I think we were in London, and he FaceTimed me at 2 a.m.
Okay.
And I didn't even check to see who it was. I was like, oh, who is that? And I, like, hung up. And then I woke up in the morning, and in my phone, he's saved as the Godfather. So I woke up and I panicked. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to ghost you.
Yeah.
And he obviously didn't reply for ages because of the time difference in LA.
Yeah.
So that was maybe the most stressful day of my life, where I thought my relationship with Downey was over.
Yeah, but imagine how stressed out he was, being like, oh my God, I got ghosted by Tom.
Is that really what it's come to?
I was the Godfather, and now this? Hey, so I know you traveled. You went to Hawaii. When was your Hawaii trip?
My family and I went to Hawaii in January.
Very nice. That's an
amazing trip.
And do you ever have this happen where you're flying, and because you have been in so many of these films people watch all the time, they watch on airplanes. Have you ever been on an airplane and realized, like, oh, that person is watching a movie I'm in right now?
Yeah, it happens occasionally, yeah. I've seen someone watch one of my movies and turn it off.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was great, but when we were flying to Hawaii, I noticed this young lady was watching Spider-Man: Homecoming, and you know, it was kind of cool. I was like, look, that lady's watching my movie. And then this other lady walked past me, and I said to my brother, I went, dude, that lady looks so unwell. And then all of a sudden I heard this thud next to me, and I looked to my left, and this lady had passed out next to me.
Wow.
Like full on out cold. So I jumped up, I was trying to, I'm not a doctor, I'm an actor.
Okay.
I was like, ma'am, are you all right? So I was calling for a doctor, I was trying to clear her hair out of her face, check her airways and stuff, and this woman who was watching my film was looking at me. And she must have thought, she was like, wow, this kid just never stops.
Yeah.
You know?
Go, go, go. Yeah. That's great. She was like, also, he's better at Spider-Man stuff than he is at doctor stuff.
I was useless. Like, I was trying to find her pulse. I don't know how to do that. I was like, she has no pulse. Oh, no, she does. She does. I just don't know how to do that.
I was checking her hip. I was wrong. I looked the wrong place.
Yeah, I remember in the Spider-Man suit, because the thing is so tight, the zip sometimes gets stuck, and it's a nightmare. I'll have like half of it off, and I'm like, please just get this thing off of me. And we have a bottle of lube. That we like squirt on the zips to like get it open and stuff.
Yeah, that's why we have one too. Yeah.
That's why we have bottles of lube.
Yeah, because zippers.
Right. But anyway, we're on set and Mitch Bell is there. Mitch Bell is one of our big Marvel producers. He's in charge of the money. So, you know, like a COVID shutdown for him is a very serious thing and he's taking it very seriously. And this bottle of lube does suspiciously look like a bottle of hand sanitizer. So he walks over and he's chatting to me and he's like, hey man, can I get some of that hand sanitizer? And I look at my brother Harry and I'm like, this is about to be golden. So I'm squeezing all this stuff on him, I'm squeezing it, and he walks off and you can see him on set like, this goddamn hand sanitizer, let's go. And then the best thing at the end of the day, the same thing happened with the boom op. So he's doing a scene and I can see him like this. He's like, I can't hold on to the boom. It's just slipping everywhere. I promise that's the only 2 times we did it, though.
That's right. The idea of you half in a Spider-Man suit, I don't know, like, have you ever gone to the Sesame Street studios?
I have not.
Because the one thing they tell you is, like, you cannot take any photos of, like, the Muppets, like, at rest.
Right,
Because it
of
would be
course.
too terrifying for children.
Sitting there with a beer, like smoking a cigarette. Who
Or
knows?
just like, it's just like, you know, like that.
Right. Just a dead Muppet.
Yeah, I feel like the same about, like, I would never want to see a photo of, like, Spider-Man half in and out of his suit, just having given up.
It's not attractive. It's not flattering. And it also comes with a lot of me being like, get it off, get it off, get it off! I've got, like, the neck stuck over my mouth. I'm suffocating. Director's giving me notes. It's a tough time.
Well, the good news is it pays off on screen. That is the spoiler that could not be said that we can now let the world know. But what was it like to work with Andrew and Tobey, the previous Spider-Man?
Honestly, mate, it was the most incredible experience of my career. To share the screen with them, you know, playing Spider-Man, while being a wonderful experience, like completely life-changing, it also can be quite alienating, you know? When you're 19 and someone gives you this opportunity and your life changes, and it's quite hard to figure out how to navigate. So to almost have like 2 older brothers that had been through it before me, to be able to share that experience with them was amazing. And I remember we were shooting this scene, which was really emotional, like a really, really emotional scene. And I was struggling to find the emotion just because, you know, when you make these big movies, it can take 2 days to shoot a scene. I've been crying for days on end. So I went up to Andrew and Tobey. I nearly said Spider-Man and Spider-Man. And I basically just said, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of this, you know, incredible opportunity. It means the world to me. And we all embraced and we all started crying. And I remember the writers sort of seeing that, being like, yep, that's how we're going to end the film. That's brilliant, well done, Tom. And then the end of the film is us having this moment where I'm like, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. And then we have this beautiful hug, so.
Yeah. That's really great that you can both talk about the experience of playing Spider-Man, which is obviously unique to you guys, and also wearing the Spider-Man suit, because not a lot of people, you know, do it at that level. It's just like the 3 of you and that guy in Times Square.
I'll give you a spoiler. Yeah.
You don't want to hug him.
I'll give you a spoiler, and I'm not going to tell you who, but one of us has a fake ass in their suit.
Really? Wow.
You can figure out that for yourselves.
Wow. I mean, see, you know, everybody thinks you're such a nice guy, but you're all about ticket sales. Because now everybody here is going back out to try to find the fake ass.
I remember being on set being like, wow. Oh, hang on a minute. Nah, that's not real.
Right. At the rap party, you're like, where does ass go?
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier this week, there's a good chance we're going to get another Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
That's really exciting. Thank you. Very exciting. And I imagine that's not something you go and do lightly. It's all got to look right. Everything must have to feel right in order to do it.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting process. You know, I got cast as Spider-Man nearly a decade ago.
Crazy.
And it changed my life for the better, and I will forever be grateful to Marvel and Sony. But I was under this contract. You know, I had this 6-picture deal, and really I had to just show up to work, stand where I was told, and read the lines. And now, as that's over, it means that I have this choice to make of like, should I come back, should I not come back? And because I got the chance to work with Tobey and Andrew, which felt like the most special experience, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to do this again, we could service the fans and bring something that's just as special and something that is just as exciting. So I really feel like we've cracked it. Our director and writers are like doing fantastic work, and I could not be more excited.
That's fantastic. I can tell you my kids are really excited as well, and I hope you don't mind. I hope this isn't too bold. They did send in an audition tape to see if there was any just any place you could find for this. So do enjoy Ash and Axel here.
Where's Spider-Man? Well, Spider-Man. My hands are the same and everything is the same. Oh, yeah! And my eyes are the same. Yeah!
I will say,
I tell you what. I'm gonna get that pose in the film.
yeah.
I'm gonna get that one.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm gonna get that in there.
The fourth Spider-Man film was not guaranteed. Like, was
Yeah.
it something where you knew it had to be worth it in order to get the suit back on?
Yeah, I've always felt a great sense of responsibility when it comes to the fans of Spider-Man. You know, they've been so kind to me over the years, and I felt so lucky to have had the experience I had on the third Spider-Man movie. You know, I got to share the screen with Tobey and Andrew, and it really felt like the kind of perfect signing off for me. So for me to come back and do it again, I really wanted to make sure that what we did was exactly what the fans wanted. And I spent ages online just watching podcasts and looking at what people wanted, what they didn't like. There's a lot of what they don't like.
Yeah. And, I'm sorry, and you're telling me. And now slow down. And you're telling me they're willing to share this on podcasts.
Oh yes.
Wow. All right.
There's
well,
been
that's
some things out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so coming back and donning the suit again, you know, it felt like the responsibility had gotten greater because there was a decision to be made. When I was 18 years old, I signed on to play this character. It completely flipped my life upside down, and it was the most glorious roller coaster of all time. And then there was the question of, like, should I get back on the roller coaster? And
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did.
I'm so glad you did as well. We have something in common. I spend a lot of my day like watching YouTube and podcasts on Spider-Man content, and
Right.
my wife is less patient about it. I think because I'm not in the film or connected to it anyway, she feels like it's a waste of time.
Yeah, my wife is in the film.
Yeah, so that helps.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations on that as well. The Odyssey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
One of your co-stars, John Bernthal.
Yeah, my
both
dear
in The
friend.
Odyssey, and here he is, Punisher, in the film. And you've known John forever.
I've known John since I was 17 years old, and the beautiful thing about this movie is that we did each other's audition tapes for these characters.
Back when you were 17 years old.
Yeah, so I was 17, we were shooting a movie in Ireland, and I asked John if he would help me with my Spider-Man audition. And I owe a lot to John because I wouldn't describe myself as a show-off. And when I did my audition, I did the very modest version of what it was. And he knew that I could do all of these backflips and stuff. And he was like, dog, like, what are you doing, man? Like, you gotta do the flip, bro. You gotta flip into the scene. So for me, like, I really think that he helped me get this part because he just encouraged me to show off, I guess.
It's really nice to hear. It's also very funny to overthink a Spider-Man audition so much as to not do the flip. Like,
Yeah.
I will say, like, with my limited interactions with John, he seems like a guy who would just, like, force you to do to run towards your strengths. And you're very lucky.
Yeah, something I love is that John always wears the same boots. Like, he loves these, like, kind of army boots. And in my audition, I, like, fake web off the camera and I pull something, and he obviously threw his boot at me from behind the camera. And you see me catch, like, the legendary John Bernthal boot.
That's fantastic. You talk about being in the writer's room as well, but I assume that, again, these things are top secret. Like, do you remember when you first got the script for this last version?
Oh, yes. It's a bit of, yes.
Yeah.
I was shooting The Odyssey. I was working with Chris Nolan, and I was blessed with probably one of the best scripts ever written.
Yeah.
And I kept blowing up the studio to say, like, guys, can I get the Spider-Man script? Because we're starting shooting in weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And they keep telling me, it's not ready, it's not ready. We'll send it to you when it's ready. And my brother Paddy worked on the film in the art department.
Uh-huh.
And he called me up one day and he was like, bro, the script is so good. I was like, what are you talking about? The script is so good. And he goes, I just sat in the studio, everyone's read the script, everyone loves it. And I'd been told that there wasn't even a script at this point. But yeah, no, we read it and, you know, we had amazing writers and they did such a good job. What they've done so well, I think, with this film is they've really found a way to make the film about Peter Parker.
Yeah.
It's the stakes to the film have never been higher. The mystery of who the villain is really kind of brings this new flavor to the film. And I'm so proud of everyone that's involved.
Well, congratulations.